evening and welcome to our video blog for today. I'd love to introduce you to our first guest. Came all the way from the study to the lounge room, and that would be my husband, Greg Weller.
How are you going?
So today we are going to talk about Greg's journey and how he came to believe in God. And so just tell me a little bit about you first, Greg, like your upbringing or...
Yeah, well, I think I've in one sense, I grew up in a very Christian household, so I always, I guess I always believed, and I probably very, very early I prayed the prayer that we mentioned on the other page on the site, just to say, God, Jesus, I believe, I rely on you only, and that happened really quite early.
What age were you when you first did that commitment, do you think?
Well, I'm smiling because I did it maybe as young as 4, I think, honestly. But,
Greg's amazing. He remembers things when he was like 3 and 4 years of age. I don't remember. So it's pretty incredible. But at 4, you just had that experience in you that that's something you wanted to do.
Yeah, I think that I think that having that, watching Christians around me and the family, and you just, you just sort of trust and believe at that age, and so it felt very, very natural, and I knew that I needed God, and so I prayed to say, look, I can't do it by myself. I'm relying on you totally. Yeah.
So you'd seen it around you.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it was a normal, natural.
And I think I'm rather fortunate, because I think a lot of people these days don't have that anymore.
That's true. Yeah.
I think there's, people, there are a lot of people that don't know the difference between Christmas and Easter in terms of what they mean for a Christian, and it's getting harder and harder for people to say, I know enough and I've weighed up enough. And I think probably that's one reason why a lot of people, before they make the choice to believe, they really need to just hang around Christians and just observe them in the natural habitat.
Our natural habitat.
Yes.
So tell me a bit more. So at 4, you said, I need you, God. I can't do it in my own strength. What happened after that?
Well, I really think that there was someone there. God was there. There were situations that came up, and I'd pray and they'd be resolved over and over again, and it was just and things would happen. Like there'd be a sort of perhaps something that there'd be perhaps some sort of shortcoming that I'd have, and I tend to Woody Allen or Charlie Brown shortcomings, and what I pray about them, and then there'd be a series of things happen that over a period of 2 or 3 weeks will target that one particular weakness, and at the end of it I was a little bit better at it, enough to consciously work on it, and be that little bit better, a little bit closer to what I should be. So I think I was always able to know there was someone in my life, that was hearing my prayers, and so I went, And,
so did life just go normal and easy and great for you then forever?
Well, I know there was one particularly rocky period when I was about 18, 19. I just, I was at university, and I started to sort of say, well, how do I know Christianity is true? So I was looking at other. I thought, okay, so what if Buddhism is true? What if rationalism is true. I mean, it's the whole range of philosophies and
Yeah.
religions, and I felt that I had to just look at all of those. And
It's interesting too, isn't it? Because growing up in a Christian home, you do believe what you're brought up in.
yes,
And so I think you do get to a point of going, what do I believe and what is true for me? You get to that stage, don't you?
yeah, and I think when I look at the Bible, the Bible is very, very happy about you being honest before God.
Yeah.
You know, you look at some of the Psalms, and okay, we know that the Psalms are. There are some Psalms that are very sad Psalms. There are some Psalms that are just really, really angry at God, and God says, "Okay, I want you to be honest." And
God just wants to hear us.
yeah,
He wants
yeah, exactly,
just
yeah,
for us to chat and talk to
yeah,
Him and
yeah.
hear us. So,
Yeah.
so tell me, what on your search, what was the battle? What happened?
Well, I just kept on looking and looking and looking. It actually took up about 14, 15 months. You know, and it was a quagmire. You'd sit down and you'd say, well, let's look at this logically. Let's gather the facts. Let's.
Because you're a facts man.
Oh
It's
yeah,
important for
yeah.
you.
And I was going to uni, so that's the way they're thinking there
Yeah.
as well. And so let's gather the facts. If I combine these two facts together, this proves this. I combine these other two factors, it proves this, and put those two factors together, it proves. And I was hoping from that to prove that God, that Jesus was really God, that Christianity was right. And it was a nightmare. It was never ending, because the moment you get some facts, you know, I suppose you could always say, well, look, but what happens if that was only a one-off? It wasn't a general rule. So I combine these two things. It doesn't always mean this. It's a coincidence. It was really, really, really. It was never ending, and I think that I had a terrific benefit of being brought up a Christian, because finally, after 15 months of it, maybe longer, I suddenly said, I know, as I said earlier, I know there has been someone in my life. I've been very fortunate, because there's been someone in my life that I pray to, and things change. And they change in such an ordered way that I become that my needs are met. And I was so I depended so much on that belief that if just it hadn't happened once, basically everything would have come down like a house of cards. So it happened consistently and just beautifully. And there is a verse in the Bible actually where it says Jesus will never ever. It basically says that if you imagine that a person is like a blade of grass that's half broken off, that Jesus would never cause that to break. He will always strengthen and grow and build. Yeah. And so I was rather fortunate, because I could say, look, when I pray to Jesus, these prayers happen. When I pray to God, these prayers happen. So I can, and there is someone there working for me in love, and I guess the leap was to say, it happens when I pray to Jesus, when I pray to God. Therefore, I'm going to assume that that what Jesus and what God says, I'm going to trust. So there is always that leap of faith, always is.
That's right, it is a leap of faith. I mean, you can't physically see them or touch, you know. It's like the wind or the steam, you know, it's there, but you can't touch it really. But you just know, and I guess it's that peace that you would have had after that 15 months of turmoil. Yeah,
it was really... I was holding off from being involved in church, holding off from being everything, and probably I managed to fail quite a few university subjects. But this was more important. This was life, you know. So yeah, but yeah, so it was good, because I had necessary facts by coincidence, because they were just simply my life, you know, over a period of of 20 years. You know, careful, you know.
And yet, not really coincidence, because God ordains.
Yeah.
Like Psalm 139, He knows before you're even born.
Yeah.
What your day is. So.
Yeah. So yeah. So He knew that I needed. There's that little. Sometimes I use the word golden thread. There was this little piece of the presence of God, like a little golden thread that you could just sort of trace through the years and know that it wasn't a coincidence. And actually, it reminds me a little bit of there's a story. It's a Francis Schaeffer book, which is a Christian. He tells a story about this couple that are out on the and I might be about it's I might have some of the details wrong, but basically, say there's a couple out in a mountain in the Alps, and they're right way up on the top of some ridge that's going out, and they think, okay, we can